Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's biggest sin, in my opinion, isn't the fact that the game released to a quite underwhelming launch, or the fact that the game, lacks certain content like stages, certain transformations, customizations, etc., right? My biggest gripe with Sparking Zero, and I think many people have noticed this too, is that the release of Sparking Zero may have actually killed every other Dragon Ball game with some exclusions, and I'm going to explain why in this video. Hello everyone, it's me again, Steve Dojo here, back with our Dragon Ball Sparking Zero video, and I'm here to talk about, yes, Sparking Zero did actually kill every other Dragon Ball game. Now, I guess we'll just start with the one that everyone's thinking of, which is Xenoverse 2. I'll make this point as soon as possible. Xenoverse 2 is not a very great game, right? People think of Xenoverse 2 and they get bad memories. The game's been out for 8 years. Go see what the common consensus is for the game being out for 8 years. And people will say, it's alright, but it's got a lot of issues. And when Sparking Zero was coming out, people were like, oh hell yeah, I could finally stop playing Xenoverse 2 so I could play Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Isn't that great? So a bunch of people were already on the, screw Xenoverse 2 train, let's hop on Sparking Zero. And now that the train is here, the Sparking Zero train, people realize that the train ride is not only very long, but it's extremely slow. And it's not satisfying. Now they're like, damn, maybe I want to go back to Xenoverse 2. But the Xenoverse 2 train has already left. When everyone said screw Xenoverse 2, that train left. You don't want to go back to Xenoverse 2. The best way I describe it is like animals migrating. We've had our fill of Xenoverse 2. We need to go find more food. Let's go to the land of Sparking Zero. We go to the land of Sparking Zero. There's some food there, but there's not a lot. It keeps us, well fed for a very short amount of time. And we're like, okay, well, now what? We go back to Xenoverse 2? Nope. Because we already ate all the food in Xenoverse 2 land. And now we have nothing in Sparking Zero land. That's the best way I can describe how Sparking Zero has impacted Xenoverse 2. Overall, interest in Xenoverse 2 has gone down a crap ton ever since Sparking Zero had like more trailers come out closer towards the game's release. Even with the release of Sparking Zero, Xenoverse 2 had the DLC that released sometime soon after. And again, the DLC wasn't the best, but the DLC, no one played it. Nobody cared. Didn't even matter that it released with Daima Goku or anything. Nobody cared at all. I mean, yeah, the two characters in the DLC were disappointing, right? But even some of the worst DLCs, like Toppo and Pycon, which are two characters that people weren't exactly the most hyped to play, even that was released with warmer reception. So Sparking Zero is the kind of shoot Xenoverse 2 in the kneecaps because everybody was already like, oh, Xenoverse 2 sucks. Let's play a new game. And speaking of let's play a new game, Fighters. Now, Fighters is probably worse off than Xenoverse 2, I want to say. I know that sounds crazy to say, because Xenoverse 2 is, a worse game, like, performance-wise and probably enjoyment-wise too. But Fighters just doesn't get support anymore. The most recent Fighters update was exclusively for Xbox to fix some bugs that were in the game for, like, the last, 3 years. It took them 3 years to give a damn about fixing some bugs. And that was the most recent update to Dragon Ball Fighters, I'm pretty sure, and it was only for Xbox. So if you're on the other systems, the bugs were already fixed, or they just don't care about you. Fighters suffers from the fact that, again, Sparking Zero has a competitive edge to it. In my opinion, I don't think it should. Sparking Zero should have definitely been more like the Bleach game, where it's just made more for fun rather than for, ranked competitiveness or have all these tournaments, all these other things. Sparking Zero should have definitely just been more of a fun game, It should have been a fun, more balanced game with, the characters doing their unique abilities and all that cool stuff, right? But we have another competitive game. So what does that do to the game that no longer gets updates, no longer gets DLCs, no new characters are going to be added? The game is going to play the exact same the entire time. Keep in mind, 2 of the recent patches for Fighters actually made it or adjusted the balance so that people really weren't the biggest fans. It turned the game into turbo mode, for lack of a better word. Some things in Fighters are ridiculous now. You can loop certain combos over and over again. Some characters are way stronger than they were before just because of these move accesses. So a good example, Blue Vegeta was a laughingstock for ages in Dragon Ball Fighters. And in one patch, boom, he's S tier. Everyone plays him now. On a scale of 1 to 10. You'll just hear that everywhere you go. And again, keeping up with the meta for a fighting game isn't exactly the worst thing ever. But for Dragon Ball fans, and I'm not trying to say this in a derogatory way, Dragon Ball fans just kind of want to play their favorite characters in the game for fun. So not only is Fighters a small roster not going to allow them to play exactly every single character they want to play, but they also have to learn every single new mechanic or string or available option as they learn to play the game. And I know that's kind of the core of fighting games overall. If you want to be good at fighting games, if you like fighting games, you're naturally going to learn that stuff. But Dragon Ball fans really just like Dragon Ball as a whole. It could be in any genre, and so long as it's the Dragon Ball they know and love, the Dragon Ball they recognize, they'll just play it. But when it comes to fighting game fans, they're going to just move on. They're going to move to Tekken, they're going to move to Street Fighter, they're going to move to any of the new fighting games that release. So Dragon Ball Fighters is in a pretty rough spot. I mean, Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo didn't even make it into Fighters. Like, the game was still receiving updates when that movie was coming out. They just didn't make DLC characters for them, which is tragic as hell. Beast Gohan could have been a perfect send-off. I mean, SJ4 Gogeta's fine too because he's literally like the guy, you know. But Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo would have been amazing to put in Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's very sad that we didn't get them. And I do think that as a byproduct of Sparking Zero releasing, because I think ever since the moment Fighters came out, they've been working with Sparking Zero. I think that's how it works timeline-wise. One of the only few games that have like done well in this is like Kakarot. Obviously, Kakarot is kind of unaffected by Sparking Zero's release because Kakarot just has a better version of Sparking Zero stories. Sparking Zero's what-if scenarios don't make it appealing enough where I think it would damper the hype on Kakarot. Probably another reason why Kakarot is even still getting DLC. Don't forget, Kakarot wasn't even supposed to get more DLC after like DLC 2 or 3. And then they still made more DLC. They still made the Bardock DLC, I believe. And then they made the Tournament DLC for Goku as well. And now they're doing Diamond DLC. Kakarot wasn't even supposed to go that far. So it's probably either doing amazing sales-wise. Because again, it's the Dragon Ball single player game. They're not going to put any multiplayer stuff. You don't have to worry about like Whis being OP or like a certain character being meta or someone being like broken or keeping up with balance patches every single update. It's just a story like single player game that you play, put it in, relive the Dragon Ball story, do some side quests, redo like New Game Plus when you have a fully leveled Goku, so you can go Super Saiyan Blue on Namek and just laugh at Frieza while he's like, "What is that form?" Like it's just a game that you'd play for fun. And yeah, it's got some issues like difficulty or pacing in certain places, but overall, it's a game that Sparking Zero can't really kill because Sparking Zero's story is very weak by comparison to Kakarot. So Kakarot gets to survive. Whoop-de-doo for Kakarot. A few other games that got to survive obviously was the mobile games, because the mobile games have entirely different gameplay styles. Not to mention, for people who are just, you know, enormous Dragon Ball fans or whales, it could be either or, right? They're just going to be playing a mobile game because a mobile game allows them to play their favorite series no matter where they go. Whether they're on the toilet, they can play Dragon Ball Legends. If they're just on a walk or at a cafe, they can play Dokkan Battle. You know, mobile games have that appeal to them. So Sparking Zero didn't screw over the mobile games at all for Dragon Ball. I guess that's good. If it screwed over the mobile games for Dragon Ball, then that would have been a colossal problem, because I'm pretty sure that's like most of the money now. I'm pretty sure like that and toy sales is most of Dragon Ball's money. Speaking of money when it comes to Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball does extremely well financially for Bandai Namco. So it's probably even less reason for them to give a crap about the other games being like neutered in a sense, because Sparking Zero probably just did really well like overseas as well. I mean, overseas, not just Japan, but overseas as well, because they were ranking these based on yen. So I'm assuming it's like, okay, it's just gonna be like Japan always does. Oh, here's our total sales revenue, and they only ever count Japan. But I'm sure Sparking Zero did extremely well overseas because of Dragon Ball's massive overseas market, and that's really, really raking in a lot for them. So it's a good thing that Sparking Zero is at least doing well for the company. But I would also like if we could see some of that energy put back into the game, because again, a little underwhelming. Either way, I think that's probably a solid place to end the video. You guys let me know what you think about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero overall and the Dragon Ball gaming situation. I don't want to give Sparking Zero such a bad rap and say it definitely 100% killed all the other Dragon Ball games, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is no longer like the newest Dragon Ball multiplayer game because Sparking Zero exists. With Sparking Zero's existence, the player base of online Dragon Ball players has dwindled for all games, because now they're split between a third game. Before it was just, do you play Xenoverse or do you play Fighters online? Now it's, do you play Xenoverse, Fighters, or Sparking Zero online? No matter how you slice it, the player base is going to dwindle from just having a third game exist, and that's usually never a bad thing. But the issue is that Sparking Zero is opposed to the other two games when it comes to gameplay style. This isn't a transition from Halo 1, 2, and 3, where, oh, I'm going to play the newest one because it's just going to have the same gameplay system as the other two, and is the newest one. This is like, no, this plays like a Tenkaichi game, so it's going to play entirely different from Fighters and Xenoverse, which is going to make Fighters and Xenoverse people want to try out, and maybe they'll never come back to their games, or maybe they'll play Sparking Zero and not like it either, and then go back to their games, which you can kind of see in the player count for the game. But again, I think that's a pretty good place to end the video. I do love you all. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you fellas all next time. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and don't forget to leave a like on the video as well as subscribe, as it greatly supports the channel. And that'll be it. Love you all, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Take care, and peace.